thank you everybody for coming today. I'm Lana McAra, and my daughter is Medical Medium Miriam. Okay, I'm not the medical medium, she is. I have my own thing I do. But she is, she's going to tell her story in a little bit here. But I just want to thank Paula for opening this place for us. It's already been such a joy to get to know you. We were here Wednesday for a while. It was awesome. Yeah, and we felt right at home immediately. Like you kind of key in on the energy, and as soon as we walked in, we're like, we match.
We match. We're a match. Okay, we'll come back.
Exactly.
That sounds like a good thing.
It was awesome. Yeah, it is. It is really, really good. So I want to introduce my good friend Sally Harvey. Sally came down from Coatesville today, and she bought a ticket and wrote it down. So Sally, before we get started, I just want to tell about when you first met Miriam.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I just want you to give a little
when
background.
I first met Miriam, was it about maybe 4 years ago?
Yes.
4 years ago when we moved to Chester County. I met Lana at a women's networking. I was starting a business and I was a teacher, I needed to meet somebody because I know about business. So I met Lana, and she told me about her daughter. I am a massage therapist, I do Reiki, and I'm a aromatherapist. And so I said, and at that time, Miriam was like, she could hardly walk. Like she couldn't walk around this room. And Lana she was living with her mom, and Lana actually was starting a Facebook page, whatever that's called, a GoFundMe, to make money, because they were going to put her on disability. She couldn't do anything. So I said, well, come on over and we'll just start doing some Reiki. We'll just start Reiki. So we did Reiki, I don't know how long we did that, but so that was 4 years ago. And Miriam was basically like catatonic. She really couldn't do anything.
At the time.
She couldn't do anything. And then over time, bit by bit, they just kind of progressed, learned this tool, learned that tool, was patient, tried this, tried that, and now this is what we have. An incredibly amazing person. She's done this I have a facility too, and she's done this at my house. We had a weekend or whatever you call this, an event. And I have to tell you, her work changes lives. It changes lives because what she does helps empower a person to recognize their ability to set their own course and rewrite their own story, as she did as a model and an example, with a mother who facilitated and guided and willed it to happen. That she's an extraordinary person and healer as well. So you're blessed to have them both.
Thank you, Sally.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I was so thrilled when I found out Sally was coming down today. It's like a bonus perk to have her here.
Thank you so
much. So I've got my notes because I don't want to forget something. Okay, so I have a couple of things I want to do before Miriam comes to speak. The first thing is I'm going to introduce her in a second. I'm going to introduce myself now. I am a published author. I have 22 published titles. I am a ghostwriter, and that's what I do for my living. I write books for people. And I write books on spiritual topics and business topics and a lot of things. When I met Sally, I was in business development for the Chester County Women's Journal, which didn't last long. I was with them about 10 months.
She's too big for that.
I met her at a networking event for the Women's Journal. But I am also a certified medical hypnotist, and that means that I can help people get out of pain almost instantly, and it doesn't come back. And so certified medical means I can work with doctors, in dentist offices and in medical practices, as well as, just doing my own thing. So, I got that certification because Miriam was in so much pain. She was in horrible pain. And later we found out that her muscles were actually being eaten up by Lyme. There's a certain type of Lyme called babesia. It actually eats your muscle and it breaks it down.
Not a Lyme disease.
That is Lyme disease. There's 15 kinds of Lyme.
Oh,
One of them is
okay.
babesia, and that's what she had.
Yeah.
And you could see her hands were skeletal, and her muscles were just jelly. Like, thank God she's back.
Yeah.
It's not that way anymore. But she was in so much pain that I was frantic. What can I do to help her get out of all this pain? And so I went and I did it for her. But guess what I found out? I got helped. A lot of people.
It's incredible.
It's
It's incredible.
Yeah, it feels like magic. I know it's not, but it is. But maybe there's a little magic too. Okay, so what we're going to do today, we have plenty of time here. So we're going to, after I finish, setting up the energy of the room today, this afternoon, Miriam's going to come and she's going to give a little talk for a few minutes. And then we're going to break for just a couple minutes just to move around or whatever. And then we're going to come back, and then I'm going to do a little demonstration on some of the pain stuff that I do and some different things for just a little bit. And then Miriam's going to come and she's going to work with people and call you up and do stuff. And then at the end we're going to have a Q&A. So if you have questions, just write them, turn some of those papers over and write them on the back, and we'll answer as many as we can. As we can get to at the end. So that's what we're going to do. So as we're getting started now, what I'd like you to do is I want you to get comfortable. Whenever we do one of these healing weekends, the people who come usually have some discomfort. That's why they're here. So if you have pain and you feel better standing, then stand. If you feel better sitting on the floor or whatever you need to do, this is not a formal thing. We're here to let everybody feel good. And whatever makes you happy, please, that's what we're all about. So get comfortable and relax and feel, you're in a safe space right now. And so as we get started, what I'd like everyone to do is just take a deep breath, close your eyes, come into your body, just come on in. And now what I'd like to do, because in this place, we have a very special opportunity. We are together in person. There's so much virtual stuff going on these days. We are in this room and our energies are together. And what I would like you to do is to set a healing space so that everyone in the room is benefited by the fact that all of us are here together. It's going to multiply the results that we're going to see today because we are together. And so now in this space, just open your heart and let your heart energy just expand. Just imagine as though your heart energy is just expanding, 3 foot out from your body, 6 foot out from your body, like a big circle. And now 10 foot out from your body. Just imagine. And the heart energy is just overlapping. And now all of our heart energy is just overlapping until it completely fills the room to every corner, ceiling, floor, all the way through. Heart energy. And now I just want you to fill it up with love. Feel the love. Love for yourself. Love for each other. Love for the universe. And all that is. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And now as Miriam comes up, I just want to give a brief introduction. This is my daughter. I get a little emotional. When Miriam was 14, she got mono. We all had mono. The whole family had mono at one time. I had it. I have 7 children, by the way. I have 6 boys and my daughter Miriam. 6 boys, all of them. We all had mono. And we got better. But we were living in a third world country. We lived in the Caribbean on an island without hot water and all that good stuff. And we had a good life there. But 2 years later, Miriam had a relapse of mono. And from that point on, when she was 16, she was always in fatigue, chronic fatigue. We could not, I'm a healthy person. You know, anything I could pour down her throat, I was doing it, but nothing was helping. She fought through because she's a very strong-willed person. And she just kept going. She graduated high school, and she went to college. Every day was a trial, just forcing herself up to go to the dining column, to go to class, get it all done. She graduated with honors in 2011. Went on, got accepted in master's school, had her GA job set up, everything was ready. She worked at school that summer as part of the program. And 2 weeks before class started for the master's program, she got out of bed, she couldn't stand up. She was shaking. And she said, if I can't go to the dining common to get my breakfast, I can't stay here anymore. And she called me, and I came and picked her up. I knew she was not well this whole time, right? I'm watching her through senior year, and she's just going down, 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 and I'm like, girl, you're gonna end up in the hospital. You've gotta leave school. No, I'm not leaving school. I'm finishing. I paid for this. I'm gonna keep on going. And she did, and the day she graduated in May of that year, I was watching her crossing the stage, and I'm going, please don't let her faint. Please don't let her faint. And she didn't. She graduated. She got her degree, got her diploma, and stayed for the summer. But at that point, there was no more fight. When you're in that situation where you're pushing through and fighting through, there comes an end to it at some point, because there was no upward climb. It was all downward. And during this time, we had going to doctors, we had been getting tests, and even after that, we especially then went into doctor mode. And what did they say? Oh, your numbers look fine. I don't know what's wrong with you. Maybe you should go home and rest a while. We could get no diagnosis. We could get no help. Nobody knew what was happening. Maybe she needed to go get counseling because there was something wrong up here. And we would sit in the doctor's parking lot. After those meetings, we would sit in the parking lot together and we would cry. What are we going to do? What? And so here we are today, 7 years later. 7 years later, it hasn't been easy. But you know, in every trial and every trauma that we go through, there is a bright spot, isn't there? And the people that Miriam helps today, a lot of them are in the same situation. And she can say, I've been there. There is hope. There is something you can do. So now that I've got everybody on.
That's where the turn is. Anytime the tears come.
Now what do I say?
You're here, and your brother and everybody.
Every time I get up, I say the same thing, but I say something different. Because usually I've come to a place where I see things from a little bit of different angle, and a lot of times it comes from what's going on in my life, or a lot of times it comes from what I see in my clients. Recently, I've been saying the same thing to people, and you know, working on this myself, because I'm always in the process of growing. I'm always in the process of being more myself, as we all are. And I found myself saying to people in venues like this, and in regular client session, you know what? You're a good person. And more often than not, the person I'm talking to bursts into tears. And I got to thinking about that. Why is that visceral reaction? And I know what it is. I know that feeling. I know that, you know, that the feeling of, oh my God, somebody actually gave me approval and affirmation. And I actually felt it in my heart space. It didn't bounce off. And so I got to thinking about that question. You know, what makes us good people? What do we think makes us a good person? And I began thinking about my story, and I realized that a great part of my struggle on the inside, I mean, I had a lot of physical things wrong, but I believe that everything that we have going on with us physically has some root in spiritual and emotional repression or trauma or whatever you call it. Not completely causal, but there's also the element. That's one of the reasons I'm a medical medium, is because the doctors and even the psychologists don't really deal with this emotional, energetic, metaphysical part of illness, and that's what I work on. And so I got to thinking about that. What makes me a good person? Does being a vegan make me a good person? Does eating meat make me a good person? Does keeping up with the gym make me a good person? And I began to realize that the reason why we're bursting into tears with this affirmation is because we have this structure in our heads. Now I had mine beat into me. Not literally, but metaphorically speaking, I grew up in a preacher's home, and they were very strict Baptist, and we were taught that we were pretty rotten sinners. Literally, religiously. And so I began thinking about this question, and I just want you to think about it for a little while. Where do you criticize yourself? Where is it that you're not giving yourself self-acceptance? What structure do you have in your mind, in your head, that says, I'm not lovable? I wish I could be more this, or I wish I could be more that. Or maybe it's something that your spouse or your child or your mother expected you to do. And it's just so intrinsic to us that we don't step back and say, why am I being so hard on myself? What really is so terrible about the person that I am? Why am I constantly in a state of self-rejection? Because really, that's what it comes down to. And this is the thing that I came to, and I've come to again and again as I've been healing myself. People say, you need to love yourself more. And you go, yay, wonderful. How the hell do I do that? But it's coming to this. My validation, your validation doesn't come from me. And your validation doesn't come from your job or your boss. That may be where you're looking for it. It doesn't come from your significant other, although that may be where you're looking for it. It has to come from in here. And we're so taught by commercials, by parents, by schools, that whatever we want, whatever our passion is, whatever our trajectory is, there's something wrong with it. There's something that needs to be fixed. There's something that, there's always something. And so we go around in life going, am I okay? Am I okay? Am I okay? Am I okay? And if we don't get the positive feedback, then we're like, oh my God, I did something wrong. Oh no, And if you were like me when I was about 10 years ago, it would have been like, that was a stupid little thing that happened, and I thought about it for 3 weeks, even though the other person didn't think about it again ever, And it may not be that for you, but we all have something, that we go to that thing, we're like, oh my God, it's a crisis, I'm not a good person. And really, a lot of the work I do, like Sally says, I help people change their story, is finding who you really are. I'm not the narcissist who was my father, and I'm not the system that was my school, and I'm not the good girl that my brothers expected me to be. So who am I? And I think this whole idea of good and bad really it needs to be thrown out. Because it's what keeps us in judgment. It's what keeps us in a space of goading ourselves and negative self-talk and all of this stuff. It's not like we don't have things that we need to work on, or that all of our life is yay, hooray, rainbows, you know? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if we could take a step back for just a minute, and the next time you do something that really bugs you about yourself, instead of going, crap, and beating yourself up for the next 20 hours, you could say, all right, yeah, I did that. Just for a minute, let me give myself permission to observe that behavior, to just look at it as if somebody else had done it, or as if it was me 20 years ago. Give myself that objectivity. Just look at it. And then you might be able to begin to see where the root is. Because we don't do things without purpose. If you're doing something, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, whether you're eating ice cream or you're going to an event, or whether you're going to work, or whether you're choosing a restaurant for dinner, no matter what you are doing, you do what you do for a reason. There is something in you that drives you in that direction. For me, it's sushi. I love sushi. There is something physically in me that enjoys that food. There's something that drives me in that direction. Okay? And so instead of judging the action, if you could just stop for a minute and just give yourself a little bit of space and say, okay, I was kind of cranky to that person, or, you know, maybe I shouldn't have had that second ice cream cone. No matter what it is, and say, okay, what was driving me to that? Not I'm the bad person, not I did something wrong, not any of that, but just what did I do? And what was driving me to it? You might be able to find that you can give yourself the grace that you need. Because here's what happens. When we are shutting ourselves down, emotionally, or we're criticizing ourselves, we're closing ourselves off from other people. And when we do that, we can't receive what we want to receive. We've locked that door. And we're the only ones who can open it. And so if you feel like you're not getting enough love in your life, the first thing you need to do is sit down and say, well, where was a time I felt loved? And just bring that emotion to yourself and give it to yourself and let it flow and let it bubble. I guarantee you, as you begin to let yourself do that, especially if you do it over a period of time, you will find more love flowing to you because you've thrown that door open. If you want more kindness, being kind to others is great, I'm all for it, but do something for yourself that you really need. You know, just stop to take a breath. Take that Epsom salts bath. You know, whatever it is to be kind to your body, open that door so that you can let those things flow to you. Because our very programming is set so that we lock these things up, and then we're like, but I can't get it, but I can't get it, but I can't get it. And then we're not realizing that actually it's all around us, but we don't have the channels open. And so no matter, it could hit us in a deluge, it could hit us in the face, and we wouldn't feel it. Because our own beingness has locked down in some way, or is blocked in some way, and we can't feel what we want to feel. The wonderful thing about taking responsibility like that is you can change it. You can change your view of yourself. You can change who you think you are, you know, because who we think we are is not who we are. Well, I say I got out of religion by praying this prayer. God, show me yourself to me as you are and not as I suppose you to be. And I begin seeing things around me that did not match with the religion I was in, and I began to move myself out of it, right? But now it's more like this. I want to see myself as I am, and not as I suppose myself to be. And it's, in a way, it's the same question. It's the same prayer. It's just turned to the other side of the coin. And so I would leave that with you as we're moving into this section on of reading, because I'm doing popcorn readings and a little bit of energy movement in a little bit. That who we think we are, who our programming, what our brain running tells us to be, even our physical feelings. A lot of them are left over from a time before when we were doing something else and our expansion was not the same as it is now. And when we are able to step back and say, okay, and being the observer is so important. And some of us find that easy and some of us find that very, very difficult. But being in that observer with curiosity and non-judgment and saying, okay, where did it come from? And how do I get rid of it? Instead of, you know, then you become your own healer. You become the person who changes your story. Because you can say, okay, that's what I said to myself yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that, and this is where that got me. That's not the story I want to tell anymore. However, I'm able to do this, and this is why healers are so important, no matter what modality they use, because they help the body and the energies to, and your subconscious mind to understand the story has changed. And then you begin living a different story, one you chose, not something that was pressed upon you by someone else. It's like people think, I've heard people say about themselves or each other, I'm broken. Well, no, not really. Mostly it's just that somebody came in and decorated your subconscious mind with furniture that doesn't really fit your personality. And you just need to go in and redecorate. So if you can look at it like that, rather than, you know, something's wrong, or I'm broken, or I'm a bad person, it really just takes the pressure off and gives you the space to really find yourself. And that's what I ask of my clients. That's the space I hold for them. Is, okay, this is what is in the moment. How do we get from here to where you want to be? Because you can do that. If you'll own where you are, you can get to where you want to be. And I am a strong believer in when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so whatever you need, it'll come to you. So there was one more thing. And if I can't remember it, I wasn't meant to say it. So I'm not worried about that. So, how would it feel if you could say to yourself, every once in a while, or today, or every day for the rest of your life, self, I love you no matter what. I had one of my brothers say that to me, and I didn't know how to take it. I was like, okay. And I suddenly realized that we don't actually think that way. You know, we don't think about being universally loved, being loved by all that is to begin with, being loved by ourselves, and then having that love, like our heart spaces right now are joined, flowing from one person to another, to another, to another. But because when we come to loving ourselves, to giving ourselves that space, to allowing ourselves the acknowledgement of what is so that we can move forward, we aren't just helping ourselves. We're opening the river. We're opening the lock to the river of life, and it's flowing through us, to you, to you, to you, to you, to you, to all of us. It's flowing broader now because we opened our hearts. It's flowing at a greater rate, and the universe is a better place because of the love that we give ourselves. And it's so interesting to me that we are these glowing, amazing, loving beings. That's who we're meant to be. That's who our souls are in human clothing. That's who we are. And yet we are so hesitant to claim that. We are so hesitant to say, yes, this is who I am as a person. This is who I love to be. This is what really gets my blood moving. This is what turns me on. It's being this person that is just vibrant and loving of myself first, and then just letting it overflow into everybody else. You see, because a lot of the conditioning we get says, you have to give and not receive. Oh my God. Yeah, I was a missionary's kid. So, you know, everything was for everybody else. But the thing is, it's an imbalance. It's a huge imbalance. Because if you are not receiving, then you are going bankrupt. And so that too is part of it, is that when you allow the flow in, it flows out just naturally. It just flows. It just moves. And you don't have to worry about being a good person or not, because love is who you are. Love is what's flowing through you. And so it just happens. And if you have, you know, happen to curse the guy out who cut you off in traffic, well, then you're like, okay, I did that. What is that about? All right. Exactly.
I did for me, it felt good.
Maybe you need to get some McAra. It's not a bad thing, anger, and that's the shadow work. Because when you embrace the shadows, when you embrace those things, you find out that they have the opposite side. You know, anger just says, you know what? There was a boundary violation there, and he scared me to death. And you know, you can't have one without the other. And so, in embracing the shadow, thank you. In embracing the shadow of the anger, you find, you know, oh, there's the fear underneath. All right, let me calm that. Let me breathe and calm that. Okay, now I'm good. You know, because love has hate, and loyalty has betrayal, and each coin has a different side. It's when we can embrace that side, the side that is not so lovely, that it gives us the wisdom we need to get back to the other side of the coin. So, so yeah, it's about embracing the shadow. It's about reprogramming your mind. It's about accepting yourself as you are today, and then looking to where you want to be, and opening to whatever it is that you need to get where you want to go. All right, and I don't like to talk a long time. I don't time myself, but yes.
Can I ask a question? Sure. Since we have a little time, could you tell just briefly what it was that made you learn how to talk to the body and
Sure.
the organs? She actually has conversations with your organs.
They can't
Right.
wait.
She does.
Yeah.
They listen though too.
Oh, they do. Yeah. I mean, our cells are sensate. They understand energy conversations. Well, when I was sick and the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, I began to learn how to do energy work. And I'd already been introduced to it, thankfully, thanks to my mom. And so I began to tune into my body, you know, and that was something I had never done. My whole idea was, like she said, get it done, you know, roll out of bed no matter how much it hurts, and just go. So I began having to pay attention to my body, and I was like, oh gosh, my liver hurts really bad. Never noticed that before. Didn't take the time. You know, I have pain in my hip and my shoulder that is like killing me. Didn't really notice because I was shut down. Didn't take the time. And as we were unraveling that ball of string, and I had many people, including Sally, help me with that. It was every day I got up and I had to ask my body, you know, what do I need today? What do I need to pay attention to? Am I drinking enough water? Is there a certain supplement I need today? Is there a certain kind of food that I'm needing? And I began to read my own body. I just began digging in, you know, what do I need? I had a sleep disorder, I had no idea about it. And until I began to focus on getting my sleep straightened out, because I knew that I had something going on. But then I realized that I hadn't slept tonight in I don't know how long fully, because I was afraid to go all the way to sleep. There was always some part of myself that was conscious, that was watching. And so it was like that. It was actually just tuning into myself, into my organs, into my patterns, into what I was doing in a given moment, and saying, okay, is this what's going to help me come to the next thing that's going to lead me to my full health? And as I began doing that, I also began helping my family and my friends. I got a Reiki master thing, and I was going to Reiki share, and there was people on the table, and I would stand there and I look at them, and I would be like, oh, you have this and this going on with us and this, and they would be like, really, how did you know that? And I'd be like, I don't know, I just did. And so it kind of evolved. I mean, it began really with tuning into the self, and then tuning into other people, and it built from there to having practice. As I got more certifications and I met more people and I began speaking and all that stuff, it just evolved into where I am now. And yeah, I can ask your liver if it's happy, or your adrenals if they're doing okay, and they will answer. They're not always happy when they answer, but they will answer, and that's okay too. Speaking for my liver, it's gone through a lot, and it's been a very good friend to me.
Mine asked for a lot of cookies. I don't know why. For some reason.
Cookies are not a bad thing. Here you go again. That's the
I
thing.
like myself. So you tell us,
Exactly.
you tell us I like ourselves.
Exactly. You know, people who crave salt, who are addicted to potato chips, they usually have adrenal problems. The adrenals need salt when they're stressed. And so eating the potato chips is not necessarily the best thing in the world to do. But I don't fault myself for that anymore. You know, if I sit down and eat a bowl full of potato chips, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I need salt, that's fine. You know, and it's like,
It does craves.
yeah, exactly. If you have a craving, there's a reason for it. So yeah, that's a good, that's a
I
good.
noticed around period times many years ago, salt and sugar. You had to have maybe a piece of chocolate and a potato chip. For some reason, the body just wanted it. Then I don't touch it for a month. That's strange. The body's telling you what it wants.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You'll tune in, and it's not always what's conventional. I ate cottage cheese and pears for breakfast. I don't know, for
That's
3
good.
years. Yeah, it was a long time, but I didn't eat until maybe 2 or 3 in the afternoon. That was my breakfast. But you know, I had to get to the point where I was like, you know, it doesn't matter when my stomach wakes up and it's time to eat. I have to let myself be.
I remember you couldn't eat. Like there was nothing you could eat. Your digestion was always unsettled.
Yeah.
Well, I think she was working with you with the Reiki. You were becoming spiritually aware. And it's almost like you went through all this pain in the Bahamas or wherever to come to this level. So you were exact because you're going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So it's almost like that's what happened.
Yeah, I was just talking to a client earlier today, and she's like, and I was telling her my story, and she's like, you know, yeah,
It was meant to happen.
there's a lot of people most people who are healers have some sort of either an emotional break or a mental break or a physical
Just to
break of
get
some
there.
sort.
To get to where you were.
Yeah,
Well, they had to show you that path.
yeah, yeah. And it taught me a lot of humility too. I mean, seriously, when you can't hardly get out of bed to shower, you
It's
know,
suffering. It's
yeah.
definitely suffering.
yeah, you just like, you get over yourself a little bit. You're just like, you know what?
You can't
I'm
be
just-
any more humble.
Yeah, I'm just I'm a human being like everybody else. Let's just let's just leave it at that. So yeah, it teaches you that as well. All right, so let's see if there's anything else. Let me define some terms for you before we go on, since as you said, we have time. I may begin talking about collectives. A collective is simply the energy body of anything that's together. we are in this room right now, we're a collective. A forest is a collective of trees. And I'm talking about something that's more than the sum of its parts. Because each one of us here together, we're each ourselves. And then our hearts are joined, and so the collective is actually bigger and more powerful than any one of us in an individual. So motherhood is a collective, and politics is a double collective, and a country is a collective. So that's what I mean by collective. Blocks, energy block is simply anything that was left in the body by trauma, and those take many forms. Trauma is anything that you cannot process in one setting.
Do you say in one sitting?
Within 48 hours,
Okay.
within a certain period of time. When you are going to the doctor's office, most of the time, unless they're telling you you have a terminal disease, you can go in and you can hear what the doctor says, and you can go home and you can talk to your significant other, whoever you talk to about it, and you can process it and you're done, right? However, if you were in a car accident or the doctor told you you had cancer, that's not something you can process at one time or within the space of a normal processing of an emotion. And what happens when we're given stuff like that that's too big for us to swallow, literally, is that we store it in our bodies. So anything that you can't process in the natural way that you would even process food, emotionally, it can be stored as a trauma. Let's see, inner child. Inner child is any younger part of yourself, and I say child, they can be up. I've had 34-year-old selves and 24-year-old selves come out, but that's any part of yourself that thinks it's separated because of something that got stuck. It's a specific kind of trauma, I guess you could say. I got scared once when I was 3 years old because of something that was happening outside the house. It wasn't threatening to me, but it frightened me. And I had to go back and calm the 3-year-old down because she's back there in my psyche going, it's still happening, I'm still frightened. And so when I talk about inner child, that's what I'm talking about, those younger parts of ourselves that often are the ones that are driving those things about us that we don't really like because they don't know that things have changed. They're doing the same thing they used to do. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any other terms. If there's anything else that I say that I need to explain, I will catch up. But those are some of the things that I commonly use in my healing when I'm talking to someone, when I'm reading someone. I'll use those terms. That's what they mean for me. I'm not sure about the general.
And it's almost like you're trying to help people rewire, because they're trying to rewire everything
Yes. Yes. Rewiring is a good way to put it.
with all their pain, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, because the body gets into states. The body goes into stasis. Like it goes into a state of what's normal. And so if before an accident you didn't have pain in a shoulder, then that's normal. But if you've had pain in that shoulder for 6 years, and the body just hasn't gotten the message, you know what? That's not happening anymore. And as long as there's not something physically wrong with it. And you can calm down. Because what happens when we do that is that you get trauma in your shoulder and it hurts a little bit. And then you start sticking emotions there.
Oh, yeah.
And then it gets worse. And then you're like, I don't understand why it's hurting. There's nothing wrong. But then it's become a depository.
How about the pain that comes and goes?
Yes, that too. Phantom pain as well. I was under that category. So those are some of the things I deal with. But I think I'm going to turn it back over to you.
I think we can take a little break. Anybody needs to take a break, get a drink. And there's water in the fridge too.
Go through a little process here, which is really fun. When I was doing my training for this process that I do for my practice, I went to California and I studied with a guy who said he was a Reiki master before it was cool, back in the 80s. And he put together a combination of methods, and they're kind of stacked together under a dome that is, he calls it hypnosis, but it's actually hypnosis tactics with a bunch of other stuff. And one of the things that he taught me in that class, which was the most phenomenal thing ever. It's called HMR, holographic memory resolution. And so, like Miriam was saying, when we get these balls of energy stuck, you know, we have trauma, and we get that, the emotion just gets stuck, and it becomes cellular memory, and it affects the way the energies of the body move, even the way our nervous system acts, and digestive, and all of it, because these energy holograms. Now, this has been actually scientifically proven. Last year they had their first scientific conference talking about these holograms, because they're now able to measure them with instruments. So the thing that was, to me, so cool is, those of us who've been doing energy work for a while, we've known about stuck energy for 50, 100 years. I don't know how many. Edgar Cayce, right, back at the turn of the century, last century, knew about that. But now, science is showing it, and it's actually becoming a scientific, psychological thing, okay? So, just going to give you a couple of little fun demonstrations. First of all, just remember, just go back in your mind now, and remember a time when you had a lot of fun, and you felt really good, like your 5th-year-old birthday party, or maybe family vacation. 5th, 5 years old. Most people 50 years old birthday party. I can testify to that. So yeah, some really great event in your life that made you feel so awesome, and especially as a child. If your family went to the beach, or, you know, just bring up that memory. Just take a moment, breathe a little bit. Think about that memory. Think about how good you felt. Just try to recreate that in your head, your mind, your body. Remember how you felt when you saw what you saw, when you ate what you ate, when you did what you did, how exciting it was. Okay, so now that memory is stored in your body, and I just want you to take your hand and touch your body where it's stored. Just touch your body. Your hand knows, yes. Just let your hand go wherever that is. Okay, good. Now we're going to just do a little pretend game with it, and we're going to pretend that we're going to pull that hologram of energy out and start piling it up in your other hand. Just find that hologram, and a lot of people touching their hearts. Just find it and just pretend that you're pulling that beautiful hologram, that energy out, put it in your hand, kind of piling it up, and assign it a color. What color is it? And just make it up. The first color that comes into your mind is the right color, okay? Yeah, okay, pull it out, put it in your hand, okay? It's important that you actually move your body and do this. All right, so get it in your hand, and hold it in your 2 hands, and just think about that. What color is it? Who's got a color?
Blue.
Blue, yes.
Plum.
Plum, good, excellent. Anybody else have a color?
Orange.
Green?
Red.
Purple, good. Okay, mine's pink. Okay, so now this energy is very beautiful, loving energy. It's fun, playful, playful energy. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to expand it and just grow it. Just let it swell. Just let it swell up like you're pumping up a balloon. Okay, good. Okay, good. Now it's this big. Very good. Now I want you to pretend that you're holding it by the sides, and I want you to stretch it into a big screen TV. Now it's flat like a big screen TV. It's huge. Look at it. It's huge, and it's full of that color. Mine's full of that pink energy, and think about yours, what color it is, and feel how you feel as you make it bigger. You feel your body responding? Okay, now squeeze it down to the size of a DVD. Squeeze it down and notice how your body feels. It's kind of smaller now, isn't it? It doesn't feel quite as powerful. Okay, stretch it out again. Size of a big screen TV. Now I want you to pretend and take it up over your head and hold it like you're holding a door over your head. And now I want you to take it and I want you to put it down over your body, just like this. Take it down over your body. All right, and one more time, take it down to the top again, over the body, and fill your body up with this energy. And just imagine that color is coming up through your body, all the way down to your spinal cord, all the way to the floor. Just keep going, let it fill you up, fill Notice how good it feels. All right, now let's take it back, down to the front, put it back into a ball. All right, and now let's just take that ball and put it right into your heart. Notice the change. Notice the change. Wow. That feel-good energy is so powerful and so healing. And you've got access to that. You know what to do now. If you ever want to feel better, you can do it again. Anytime you want. That's right. Okay, so that's a little demo of how this energy work, these energy holograms work. Okay, so is anybody here in pain? Anybody have a pain? You have a pain? Where's your pain?
Right in here.
Okay, you want to come up and try something with me? Okay. All right, this one right here. And it's behind your knee?
It's right in the back a little bit.
In the back, behind your leg there? Okay, okay, good. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to pretend that you're going to pull that energy out, just like what we did. Just get a hold of it and put it in your hand. Just pull it out, put it in your hand. It's a little ball of energy back there. Put it in your hand, and what color would you say it is?
Black.
Black. Okay, good. Excellent. All right, now keep pulling until you have a feeling of relief that you got it all. Just keep doing it, because sometimes they have like little fingers and strands that go down and hook into your body. So just keep pulling until you have it all. And then when you're ready, there you go. Okay, so now I'm pretending with you. So I'm holding it here, and you have black ball of energy in our hands. And what direction is it spinning? Is it spinning this way, or is it spinning the other way? First thing that comes to your mind, your subconscious mind will tell you. What is it?
Just like it wants to go down.
Like it wants to go down, like it's heavy?
Yeah,
It's not spinning.
it's not spinning.
It's not spinning. Okay, awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take it like this, and we're going to just fling it as hard as you possibly can right down to the center of the earth. Raise it up and down. Breathe in. Notice the change. Now try to bring the pain back. Notice what happens instead. It's not good. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Just that easy. Just that easy. And when you have a hologram that is like old pain, it won't come back. If you're recreating it because there's a condition, like you need a hip replacement or something like that, then yes, you may have it come back as you use that hip. But if it's old pain, it won't come back. Okay? Now the one thing I would say is there a physical problem with your leg?
Yeah.
Okay, so just because the pain is gone doesn't mean that you can go now and do calisthenics and, take care of it.
That's all she needs.
Don't sign up for the next half marathon, Yeah, the physical problem doesn't stop. It's just that the pain is gone. And if you have surgery, you can even tell your body to stop hurting while you heal. You can actually do that. It's amazing what the mind will do. As long as you can communicate and the mind believes that it's safe. It's safe to do that. Okay, yes.
So had hers been spinning, what is the notion behind clockwise versus
Oh,
counterclockwise?
good. Thank you for that. Does anybody else have a pain? You want to come up and try? Okay. I'll show you this.
See that little thing?
Okay, okay. Sciatica?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you've had it for a while. Okay. All right, that nerve is kind of angry. All right, so go ahead, pull the pain out, put it in your hand. Just keep pulling. It might take a little while because that has been kind of deeply ingrained in there for a while. So just keep pulling. What color is it? You don't see a color? Okay, well just pull a little bit more and see if you can see a color. Just the first one that comes into your head. Just assign it. Just pick one.
Okay.
What color would you pick?
Muddy gray.
Muddy gray. Okay, good. Good. Just keep pulling until you feel like you're relieved. You'll kind of get that sense in your head like, okay, I'm done. Kind of thing.
Yes, it is bad.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, yeah, I can tell. I can feel it, actually.
Do me a favor, when you're pulling it out, open your hand in the back here.
This
No,
one?
that
This
hand.
one.
Pull it
Okay.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because your
Good
hand's
pull.
closed, you're not pulling anything out.
There you go.
Or,
There.
sorry, I just.
Okay, I feel it.
You feel it better?
Okay.
Okay, good, good, good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, got it? Okay. Now, which direction is it spinning? Is it going this way or the other way?
Right.
Okay, it's going this way. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip it. Just go like this with your hands. Go ahead, flip it. Okay, now you're gonna spin it this way. It's going the opposite direction, okay? So now I want you to take your hand and get in there and spin it the opposite
Open your
direction.
hand, open your hand.
Faster, 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 bigger,
Open
bigger,
your
bigger,
hand, open your hand.
faster, faster, and now I want you to make it big. I want you to make it like really, really big. Amplitude, force, dynamics. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Make it so big that you know it's never gonna go back the way it was before. Now I want you to get it, slam it down, and put it in your back of your head.
It went back to the hip though.
It went back up. It went back to the hip. Okay. How's your hip feel?
It went right around the corner.
It went around. It went. I saw it. It went. Oh wait. I'm supposed to go back there.
That feels a bit better. Let's do it again. Okay, let's do it again. Pull it out.
When you do it,
Okay. Wide fingers.
I want you to move it, it's over here more. It's coming from there more.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep pulling.
Cool.
Yep. Okay, now you got more. You kind of got it primed. Primed the pump. So this is what I'm going to tell you to do. You're going to spin it backwards. You're going to squeeze it down. You're going to slam it back into the spot.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what we're doing.
I thought I didn't want it.
Is it still gray or is it a color now?
It's still gray.
Still gray. Okay, good. Good. Okay, good. Now you're getting deeper.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably been years.
It's going,
Okay.
she's going, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Keep going. I feel it in me.
I do too. I feel it. I'm getting warm. Keep going. Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy.
Don't you, I just feel like this knife going right in my
Oh,
gut.
okay.
I feel like it's getting later though.
Yeah.
You're doing it. You're actually really doing it here. Okay.
All right.
Got it? Okay, now which
She's
direction is
going
it
out.
spinning this
There's a
time?
lot of
Is it still going this way?
Let's see.
She's so freaking resistant.
It's going left. Okay, so let's flip it and now make it go right.
Right?
Bigger, bigger, faster, faster. More amplitude, more power, more force. Bigger, bigger, stronger, stronger. Keep your arm going wide, wide, wide. Come on, let's get some force into it. This thing is big, it's bad, it's ugly. Let's go. Okay, now squeeze it down and slam it into your body. Back where it was.
Back to where it was.
Boom.
All right.
Right there.
All right.
Notice the change. Breathe in. See if you can bring the pain back. Can you bring the pain back? Notice what happens instead.
Yeah. But it feels a little bit more up now.
See what
But now
happens?
you can do it.
You know how to do it.
Yeah, you can
What
do it.
happens is when you relieve the pain in one area, the other area starts showing up
Yeah,
Exactly.
because you've relieved this
Why is she
one.
putting it back in the body?
Yeah, why?
Okay, this is what's
Or just the
happening.
energy
Versus
she's
turn
in.
it the other
Yeah,
way.
this is what's happening. When you have a pain that is, you know, over time, the brain gets used to this cycle. Pain, 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 and it becomes like this loop. Like your brain is in a loop,
Yeah.
and it's saying pain, 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 pain.
Yeah.
When you pull it out and you flip it, you cancel it. It's like noise canceling headphones.
Yeah.
You've got all this positive going, you flip it, it becomes a negative, boom, it goes to zero.
See a difference in her face?
Why do you have to relieve it first?
You see the difference?
Because your guides wanted to take it back.
That's, yes,
That was a different thing.
Your eyes.
That was angel work there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your body's telling you it.
The body was saying,
There's a lot of resistance.
get rid of that stuff. We don't want it back. Yeah,
That was, yeah.
yeah, okay,
Now you're
excellent.
open to it, because you can see it in your face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now my yeah, I can feel tingling in my
About to
foot.
do the whole body.
Oh, yeah.
This hurt, this hurt, this hurt.
No, it's actually energy. It's like tingling.
Tingling, yes.
Good.
It's great.
Mhm.
Good.
But so now you know what to,
Yeah, you just pull it out, assign it a color, look at the direction, flip it, do it backwards, but you gotta get your body involved. You gotta really spin hard, because you need to convince the brain it's going the opposite way. Squeeze it, slam it. It's very physical.
It's
And
almost
then-
like Tai Chi. Because I remember doing the
Yeah.
ball thing and bringing it into my body.
Yes.
So that, you just gave me another little trick though about the pain and the brain.
Yes.
That really, I'm gonna try it when I go home.
Yes, yes,
Get
yes.
rid of some more pain. We'll be working. You're like a hamster working all night.
I'll be getting these texts, it's working.
Giving you a lot of tips. Thank you.
You don't have to watch television anymore.
Okay.
I'm even warm. She had.
I know, I feel
She
it.
had the session all hot. She had like the energy just came over.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
feel
the
it.
collective.
Yeah, heart connection.
That's the collective.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. see?
We were all
Yeah, I
helping
felt
her.
it. Yeah, I felt
She's
it.
helping us.
Wow, that's something.
Okay, I think we're ready for you. If we- Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
That was good.
That's what I love about this work, is that it is so much fun, you know, it's so interesting to see what you can do and what the result is, because no two of my sessions are the same. You know, I have repeated conditions that come to me, but how the body reacts to it and how the body wants to get rid of it, and how that shows up afterwards, it's always an adventure. So I love this work. All right, so I'm gonna be doing pop readings today, and since I only have so many people, everybody, I guess, can have one, and I'm very happy about that. So who would like to be first? All right, do you have any condition that you would like me to ask your body about?
Well, what's with my leg, but it's gone.
You can't make him disappear, sorry. It doesn't work that way.
Let me see again. Since I already asked about them. Yeah, I feel it. It's almost like strands. It almost feels like strands of energy to me, like running through the back of your hands in particular. I'm not feeling as much on the palm. So let me ask your body then. How does this seem to be? How can this be removed? Arthritis is a very energetic condition. It's why it can't be treated. Most conditions that can't be treated have something that's deeper. Yeah, and I feel it there. Like there's almost like an energy opening and closing in this hand. When did it begin? Do you know?
It began probably, maybe like 5 or so years ago.
Was there anything happening 5 years ago that was different than, say, the 10 years before that? Is there any events that we can think of? It doesn't have to be that, but I'm just asking.
No.
No? Okay. Okay, but you did trigger something. Is arthritis a familial condition?
Is it you say family?
A family condition? Do other people in your family have
Yes.
arthritis?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so 5 years ago you triggered this condition. It's in your DNA. It goes back 6 generations, maybe a little farther. Huge yes, my family. Okay, so what happened was, at certain times of life, or in certain events in life, certain things are triggered in our bodies that were not there before. And so whatever happened which probably wasn't all in your conscious mind, triggered this familial collective. Okay, so let me ask the body, can we clear this today? The answer is yes. All right. So let me ask the body, how do we clear it? So I'm just going to begin going through things that I do. Yeah. Okay. This is going to be DNA work. Because what we need to do is we need to turn off the strands of DNA that were activated that triggered this. And that is more angelic work, so I'm going to ask you guides to come in. Yeah. And it's kind of like in your core, in your digestive system, you're seeing them work. Alright, so I want you to take a deep breath and say to yourself, whatever it was that was in the past, but I don't even know what it was, I'm letting it go forever and living now. I'm releasing this from myself, from my DNA, from their DNA, all the way back to when it started, all the way forward through anyone born in the future. This is now released from my familial story, from my DNA, from the true verb is not showing up. As, you know, I saw it in your eyes. When you looked at me and said, I don't frighten easily, I see you, like, you're very strong. But when I first got up here, this is not what you were manifesting. And so by healing those inner children, you will begin to bring that out of yourself, bring that forward, bring that into a space of light. They are a little reticent. Most of the times I can find them or they'll talk to me, but yours are kind of like, nope, not today. The thing about inner children is they need to feel safe and need to go out. Like nobody's going to yell at them. And so if you can put yourself in that space and talk to them as you would to your children, or if you don't have children, to a child you love, then they will manifest and help you to sort through, in a sense, all of that. But just being present to them, being present to the emotions they bring, and then seeing what rises behind. Like I said with the shadow selves, you know, the shadow emotions, embracing them, this is exactly what I'm talking about for you. So that's going to restore a lot of your energy, because I have a feeling like they're standing back there and each one is holding like a piece of your get up and go. And they're very willing to give it back to you. It just is that you need to make the time and the space to allow them their conversation. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it does.
You want to get up here, lady? Are you sure? Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, you look better. Your energy is better.
It's
Yes,
back.
it's got some verve. Yeah. That's good. I'm just getting some nice energy to your headspace. And you personally. Get your energy this way. So before we go, we're going to take a minute to close our eyes. And we're going to breathe. Breathe in the changes. Breathe in the yumminess of this heart space at this moment. Breathe in the love for this world. And if there is an emotion that you really wish you could bring to yourself, it's here in the collective. It's here for you now. So even if you need to respectfully ask someone else's energy, can you find that for me and look it up? This is the beauty of the collective heart. It helps us each to learn what we cannot learn in our own. So if you need strength, ask for this collective heart to awaken your strength. And if you need love, ask this collective heart to awaken your love. And if you need joy, ask this collective heart to awaken your joy. And if you need clarity, ask this collective heart to show you what clarity truly is. This is the gift we give to each other when we come together to heal. For each one of us is tapped into the larger whole. Each one of us is an expression of the oneness of what it is. And in this moment, we bring our consciousness to this oneness. To the fact that there are things we do not know. There are things we have no hook to hang things on, perhaps. Something was said today that we are someone else, and we thought, I would like that, but I have no idea where to begin. But each of us brings wisdom. Each of us brings emotion. Each of us brings a talent, a gift that is being shared this morning. Not that you are taking something from someone else, but that the presence of their gift, of their emotion, of their knowing, awakens your own. So that you find yourself now in a space perhaps you have not found yourself before. And whatever space you wish to be in, whatever condition you find yourself in now, breathe it in. Even if the emotion may not be positive one, breathe it in. Breathe it in deeply. You are safe. You are loved. You are never alone. You are connected, deeply, viscerally connected to the earth, to the sky, to each other. That is not a wish or even a fact, it simply is. So we join our hearts and give each other the gifts that we can. We give and receive in balance and in beauty. And always, always into gratitude. For the pure light and love that we bring to each other. And we leave here knowing that we have been seen, we have been heard. That the path before us is plain. That
deep gratitude to each of you, to the guides and guardians who came, to the angels who oversaw,